G'day everyone and welcome back to Terra Invicta. If you're wondering where the Rogue Trader is, there is a community post with a bit of an update there, but for now, we've had a couple of days trying to fix that, so I'm just going to zoom ahead with some Terra Invicta in the meantime. Hope you enjoy. Alright, so let's jump right back in. It's April 2034, and I'm going to try and move things because we're in sort of a middling stage of the game now. What we're doing is we're above the hate cap, but we're pre-total war because while we are going to be able to build enough ships, and I'm in the process of building enough ships to be able to protect our primary orbits, and the aliens aren't going to be strong enough to want to poke us, because we're not at total war, they're not going to throw the kitchen sink at us. Total war requires hundreds and hundreds of hate points, not the 70 or 80 minimum that we're at. We're probably about 100, I'm guessing. It'll be like 300, I think, to start Total War. So as long as I don't poke, I don't want to poke too much because I don't want to make this go full Total War mode. We'll talk about what that means more in the future. But I don't have a ship, and this is one of my goals now. I don't have a ship capable of taking me out to Jupiter, which is probably my next objective. Now, the house rules say I can't go to Jupiter until I completely clear Earth orbit of all Xeno ships. But that's okay. I'm convinced that my new battleships that are being fielded and whatnot, I can do that. I can clean Earth orbit. The reason we need to go to Jupiter, frankly, is resources. We're going to want to be able to scale a whole bunch of stuff. We want to scale our space economy to the bloody moon and back. But to do that, we need the resources to support it. And your space economy is built... your macro is built of metal, basically. We need base metals and we need noble metals, and there are places that we can get them. Io stands out as really high potential in that respect. And then you can expand out through the rest of Jupiter. And even though the deposits aren't going to be as large in some of these places, just if you can take over Jupiter and plonk down the level 1 hab, level 1 mine, level 1 hab, level 1 mine, dump that everywhere, it should be cheap and it should get us the resources we need. Water and volatiles, I'm building more agricultural facilities to bring lower upkeep. We'd also ideally like more fissiles. I'm not sure where we'll find more of them. But occupying Jupiter and Saturn is not... Well, Jupiter is a strategic necessity, but we, in order to make the house rules work, we need to be able to go to everywhere that doesn't have... Everywhere that doesn't have radiation, everywhere that has a system that doesn't have radiation, we need to be able to build some hotels and geriatrics facilities so that the wealthy of Earth don't have to live on Earth anymore. They can go hang around at top-tier facilities in space. So that's the necessity. We need to get to Jupiter. To get to Jupiter, we need better engines that allow us to go out there and fight out there. So I'm working on that one. Meanwhile, the ground game on Earth. And if you're worried what engines they are, it's going to be... Eventually, it'll be antimatter plasma cores will take over everything. So I'm working towards an antimatter economy. Before then, I'm considering going further down the fission line and trying to go all the way, see if we get lucky and get something like a neutron flux torch. Anyway, if we roll it, we roll it. On Earth, here's the goal. We're just going to be running a constant pace of territorial expansion where we repeat the system we've done before. We take over the control points, we invade, we absorb, we take over the control points, we invade, we absorb. We want to swallow up all this section of Southeast Asia eventually because there's like 40 mission control spread across these countries, plus boost and science, etc. We'll want to grab Norway. It's got 4 mission control. Eventually want to grab Denmark, 5 mission control. And then once we've expanded the pack to as big as it can get, India to as big as it can get, and the Eurasian Union as big as it can get, then it will be time to get another candidate for expansion. Whether that's take over the US and go United States and North America, break into Saudi Arabia and go Caliphate, go Africa for African Union. I don't want to focus too much on the ground game, but the point here is we just want to be constantly absorbing more and more mission control. Free mission control and free boost, because if I'm going to be building hotels and stuff in space, I need the boost to maintain them. So boost has gone from being a completely superfluous late game resource to something that's actually going to constrain me. I am building I am building some habs to make me money at the moment, but what I really want to do right now is I want to go to... I don't want to blow up all the Protectorate's vessels around Earth because I think they're shit enough that I'd rather they pay upkeep on them. But there's a smaller Protectorate station, I think. Yeah, there we are, Catherine the Great Station. I think we take that, we upgrade it, and we turn it into a money-making facility in Earth orbit, where the wealthy members of the Earth elite Well, this isn't even going to be close, is it? Where wealthy members of the Earth Elite can go have medical treatments in 0G. So geriatrics facilities and space hotels, basically, with a focus on geriatrics facilities because they are apparently those retirees have some serious dosh because you get way more money per boost investment. All right, so we're going to go in at relatively high speed. I see no reason to be too definitive on the targeting at this point. My ships should be able to sort this out pretty much on their own accord. There are no defenses around the station itself. So maybe what I do is I make sure everyone's... I mean, I think our magnetic weapons are frankly going to take this out before anyone gets here. And I think our PD should be able to handle incoming. Should have packed my fleet closer together, obviously. But the point defense is so far holding up. Now, if you're wondering, are you hilariously overkilling everyone? The answer is yes. Let's safe all the weapons. I didn't safe everyone in time. But the 3 lower taxes class battleships, everyone's favourites, they can keep their magnetics firing. So yes, these are the 3 lower taxes class battleships. The policy class, the 3 things everyone wants, the lower taxes, the budget surplus, and the free services. And because we have the initiative, we promise you all of them. Now their PD is probably handling single nose-mounted coil cannons. It's just the reality of it. All these Protectorate designs do have some PD. What they can't handle is approximately all the missiles ever. And like I said, the hilarious overkill is mostly just posturing at this point because it is the Protectorate and I'm mad. I love the missiles valiantly attempting to divert from their old target, and indeed they succeed. Excellent. So we'll take the station and get it upgrading. Okay, so we are in June 2034, and I've started my I've decided, I did some math, and the aliens because the aliens are no longer coming to Earth to fight me. The aliens are not interested in coming to fight me on Earth anymore, but I can't go fight them, and they've started building ships. So I had been holding them at a constant like 180-ish, constantly destroying ships. They haven't fed me any ships for a while now, which means they're just going to build up over time, which means I don't think I can wait the time it's going to take for me to research antimatter mass production, get the propulsion technology, get the reactors, get the engines, get the super colliders set up around Jupiter. It's just a lot. So I am going to take the research inefficiency in exchange for speed and roll the dice, the 36% on saltwater core reactor 2 popping up eventually. I'm considering this a dead end if I don't get that 36%. So what I might actually do as well, my councillors have a bunch of extra experience points saved up. I'm going to level science on a bunch of people to grind this up. I might add science boosting orgs, see if I can get this number up to like 40, 45, and then we'll roll saltwater core reactor 1 and see if we get lucky. The reason I'm doing that, saltwater core 1, it's an okay drive. Core 2 is a much, much, much better drive. If we look at saltwater core reactor 2, which I think you need it for the flux torch anyway, and the torch is the engine that I would use. So basically, if we unlock reactor 2, then we're going all the way to flux torch. We're spending 85,000 research for a powerful engine earlier on. But if you look at the main thing of the reactors are your tonnage per output and your efficiency. Max output matters too, but mostly people care about efficiency and ton per output. Normally, 45 tons, 0.45, so 450 kilograms per gigawatt at 95% efficiency for saltwater 1. as opposed to 80 kilograms per gigawatt at 95% efficiency, 99.5% efficiency, and a maximum output of 230 terawatts for the saltwater core 2. Plus the cost per output is basically, I think it's like basically the same. Yeah, you pay very slightly more nobles and the same fizzles per output. You can just get a lot more output, more lightweight and efficient. So yeah, I'm going for that now. Fingers crossed. I don't think there's any way, as far as I know, there's no way in this game to influence it, and you don't know if you hit it or not when you research the text. We just wait and see if it pops up. All you can do is increase the average science value of your counselors and make sure you've researched any technologies that boost it. I can think of only one. In terms of expansion, Bangladesh is going to be next, 186 million people that will be joined into India. We have started moving into Southeast Asia with the Pan-Asian Combine, so I suspect it is going to be Bangladesh, Myanmar, Vietnam. We'll leave Cambodia for the moment because there's no boost and no mission control there, but there is heaps of mission control in Thailand. From Thailand, the obvious move is Malaysia. Over in Europe, Norway is currently at war with the United States, which is going to lead to an overthrow of the government, but eventually I'm going to move into whatever government gets installed. I'll just go save the Norwegians from the Protectorate. The Protectorate's going to take over thanks to the US military arriving. And then we're going to go save Norway by incorporating it into the Eurasian Union, which isn't incredible, but with a GDP per capita of 32,000, low levels of inequality, education level of 9.8, perfect cohesion value, and a democracy value that's about to hit 5 out of 10, not bad. Also, it has 49 nuclear barrages. So yeah, just a couple of nukes. Okay, it's January 2035. Welcome back to the ship design screen. Not that we're going to build one, I just want to casually show off, the state of our reactor technology. We've got the solid core fission, the vapor core fission, which we will never use, the terawatt gas core fission, which our orbital defense ships are relying on. This saltwater core reactor 1, excellent drive, 95% efficient, but we'll hide that because we have saltwater core reactor 2. So, yeah, the coin flip worked. We also have Antimatter Plasma Core 1, but no antimatter and no engine that uses it, so this is mostly a wall hanger at the moment, as is a saltwater core reactor 2, because we're nowhere near having the drive that goes with it, but I'm working on it. So, at the moment, we are researching magnetic plasma confinement, which we need for a bunch of stuff, but most importantly, because it will lead into, hopefully, Antimatter Plasma Core 2, 76% chance. Good reminder to bump that up. I'd be comfortable at 80. I'm comfortable at 4 out of 5. We just want a coin flip, so I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm pretty happy with a 3/4 or 4/5 chance. But what it will also lead directly into is magnetic nozzles. Magnetic nozzles will give us a guaranteed hit at the neutron flux torch. So even if we miss Antimatter Plasma Core 2, at least we will have an engine with which some of our ships can travel the solar system with reasonable performance, which is what we want. So I'm working on that. Consolidation has continued in Asia. As you can see, it is Myanmar and Thailand up next. Over here, lovely Norway has been integrated. Denmark, I just don't have the councillor turns to deal with at the moment, but I'm trying. The budget was getting really, the line was going down. The line was going down. You can see I've gone up to 245 MCUs because the aliens hate me anyway. It's not enough to go to total war, but it's enough to build out the economy a little bit more. And what we've been able to do is I'm creating... let's fix that. The Soren. Like the Ritz or the Hilton, the Soren series hotels will be present all around the solar system. So there's a Soren in LEO. This one's the geriatrics one. There'll be another one which has the actual hotels. What this allows incredibly wealthy people to do is come into space and give me crap tons of money in exchange for having medical treatments in a zero-G environment. Is this good for them? I don't know. I didn't think so, but people will pay for it. So people pay for a lot of things, and the initiative's going to take their money. So this costs us 3 boost and a bunch of water and volatiles per month, but the water and volatiles can be offset with these agriculture complexes. So these complexes I will try and get down to 0. This one is already at 0, has too many agricultural complexes. In exchange for running a profit, this station's running a profit of 1,139 cash per month. That'll increase to 1,400 roughly once the other facility finishes. We've also got another money-making station in creation, the High Ground Hotel, which is a combination geriatrics facility, hotel, shipyard, because they can tour. The retirees can be taken for a tour of our warship production facilities in their spare time. These ones over here can hang out at the battle stations. It's not a low risk environment to visit, but apparently people will pay for it. And then there is currently another Soren series hotel is being constructed around the moon. We'll replace these two now that we've got the layered defense arrays running, but you get the idea. So this will take us positive cash for a while at least, as long as we can keep up with the boost income requirements. We have a big banker boost though, but we will need even more, because once we start getting antimatter production set up around Mercury, that's going to suck a bunch of cash up as well. Which reminds me, I need a station to make antimatter at. So the Protectorate has a nice pre-built station. Stations can be pretty expensive to build around Mercury, no reason not to economize. So how about we go do some hostile acquisition of Xiao Yanyan Station and rename it into something much better. And with a final jump through, because I wanted to get into the power projection stage of this episode, let's settle ourselves in at July 2035, where a few things have happened. 1. The neutron flux touch is being researched. It will be done in January if nothing changes. I might even bump it at the expense of everything else, increase that speed so I get the torch in November. The problem is there are so few other things that I want to research, but I'm just grinding away at super expensive items that I'm going to need eventually. We do have Antimatter Plasma Core Reactor 3, so we're going to be able to go our antimatter engines eventually as just a way to go. You need antimatter propulsion, then you need more things on top of it, and you need the antimatter infrastructure to support it. We're grabbing Integrated Resource Market, which will let us sell antimatter to the public for more money, because I'm not sure I actually said this in the episode, I put it in the description. One of the house rules, apparently, is that I'm only allowed to use, and I've set up a little spreadsheet to track this, I'm only allowed to use half of my exotics income and half of my antimatter income, because half of it has to be sold for money. So integrated resource market increases. This is much less powerful than it was in earlier versions. In earlier versions, that was amazing. Now it seems much more lackluster, but we will see. I'm doing integrated resource market, which gives 200% more revenue from the sale of space resources, so that'll increase these prices. At the moment, I get 150 cash per exotic. This will increase it a bit. And I'll look for more text to do so, because selling an exotic for 150 cash feels bad, man. We're working on administration algorithms, which will give us the ability to build stations in orbit, which increase our CP cap, I believe, which is good, because we're currently trying to we want to run the Protectorate and the servants out of the US eventually, and I'm going to need more CP to do it, because if we can take them out of Canada and the US, I think they're basically done. Like, they can continue to run around, maybe try and build facilities or whatever, but the aliens won't get here anymore. Now that I have a couple of Firestar engine battleships, I can intercept transports the way I couldn't before. I can shoot them down before they land. So unless they try and bring new Hydra counselors with a massive escort, even then, and they can't build a facility on Earth without me being discovered, because I've turned a servant evangelist. He's an evangelist who actually works for me. So I'll see any facilities they build. So we're in a good place. I've completed some nanofactory concepts, complexes, just to give me a little bit of depth and redundancy. But what this does mean, if you look at Mercury, is that not all of these locations are running massively cash negative the way they used to. Some have got a little bit of offsetting production from the nanofacturing complexes, because these make 300 money per in exchange for eating, I think it's net 280, because they take 20 support cost, but they eat 30 metal and 3 nobles a month, but they do produce a lot of cash, which is good. So we're in a good position there. What I have started doing is, this was the former Protectorate station, which is better with us. It has started its creation of some super colliders and atom smashers. If you're wondering why I'm letting the atom smashers finish, because they finish first, and I can use the initial, you don't need that much antimatter. And I want to produce some battleships, some more defense battleships, but I want them to be with antimatter spikers. I'll show you those in a moment. And then I've started constructing another station, which will be Mercury Omega, which will be another super collider station, probably to produce even more antimatter. My goal is 1 unit of antimatter, that is 1 decaton of antimatter per month, which is insane. It is absolute insanity. But with the power output of solar farms at Mercury, it is possible to run a super collider with 750 energy consumption without that being too much of a thing. So those will finish in December, but we're going to get some income of antimatter starting later this month, which will let us power the spikers. Let's talk about spikers. So we want to design it. Let's just say you want to design a battleship. Let's just say you want to design a battleship. Make it a defense bomber so it lines up with everything else. All right. Classic, we're gonna use our battleship. We're gonna go lithium spray radiators, which we've unlocked. Lithium sprays massively reduce conventional metal cost in exchange for increasing noble cost from 0 to 2 per gigawatt dispersed. But they also don't quite halve, but I think that's like roughly 40% reduction in weight, in radiator weight, while still being very low vulnerability. So we've got the power plant. Let's add the Firestar drive. Let's add some. Let's use our usual setup: advanced hull guns, 2-point defense. I'd love to use laser batteries, but we can't use offensive weapons that use ammunition. That's not allowed. Let's throw an advanced coil cannon on the front. Yes, you spend exotics for these level 3s, but it does significantly increase the performance of the weapon to the point where I think it's worth it. And then let's slap armor. Let's put 60 points of armor, 5 on the side, 10 on the back. It's a reasonable amount of armor. You can make it 70 if you really want to. And then for utility modules, let's say it needs internal armoring, a lithium heatsink. We'll say you can take either ECM or 1 unit of Marines. I think both have justification. We're talking about an Earth, an orbital defense ship here. So instead ECM Mark III. And then you're like, oh, okay, 54 millig's cruise, 1.1 G combat, 5.6 KPS total, whatever. Let's make that 15 so you can see the comparison better, and let's take the engines up to 3 drives. All right, 7.9 and 3. I have a Hydron trap, costs 0.1 exotics and weighs 20 tons. This increases exhaust velocity 100%. I've just doubled my cruise delta V by adding the Hydron trap. My combat acceleration doesn't change, my cruise acceleration doesn't change, but my total delta V does because I'm getting more effective propulsion. Oh, sorry, this thing needs a battery. The superconducting coil battery weighs 2 tons. Very, very light, so there we go. This thing is 10,200 tons at the moment. It is not a heavy battleship. There are terrestrial warships that are routinely terrestrial warships that are significantly heavier than this. This is 1/10 of the weight of a carrier. But we're not done, because there is this thing over here called the Antimatter Spiker, which is a 50% bonus to thrust in fission and fusion drives. But it requires a tiny, 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 tiny amount of antimatter to do so. But if you add it, you can see we went from 3 combat acceleration to 4, and our cruise acceleration is now like 200 and something. So these spikers are really good for increasing the agility of your ships and also their cruise, to the extent that cruise speed matters. Doesn't on something with only this much KPS. But the final design for this would be something like this, I imagine. It'd be 25 propellant tanks, 3 drives, 4 combat acceleration, 25 KPS in orbit, 1.1 degree per second squared. It's not the best maneuvering in the world, it's not terrible. But this is a lot of firepower, it's a lot of forward armor. It's 181 combat power, not that really matters, for a ship which can really get up and go. So the combination of the Hydron Trap and the Antimatter Spiker I really, really like. So I'm waiting for Antimatter to build maybe 2 or 3 more defensive ships around Mars, Earth, and Mercury, and I can even retire some of the older ships in order to keep MC down if I need to. So that's what I'm doing with the antimatter. That's the wonderful world of antimatter spikers and why I want an antimatter economy. That plus, we banned fusion. So yeah. As for Earth, expansion will continue. These armies here, it's because I anticipate a spontaneous uprising of the people in Malaysia demanding integration into the Pan-Asian Combine. I'm sure it will happen, and it will be completely legitimate and grassroots movement. Okay, so bad news, the Protectorate stole precision focusing software, which is what a 10,000 point technology we researched that increases laser damage by 10%, which I got for point defense, so that's more effective against magnetics. But we got the increase in sales price, so antimatter now costs 10,000 per unit, and exotics now cost 300 per unit, which is getting better. We finished another geriatrics facility around the moon, and we got our first 2 atom smashers online. The super colliders will produce far, 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 far more, like 100 times more. No, less. How much they produce? Yeah, okay. So we need 10 super colliders to get. They produce 1 ton per month. Each super collider produces 1 ton per month, and we want 10 to get to our target of 1 decaton. But we do have this tiny income, and that tiny income is going to be enough to build some spikers. So I'm going to design that new class of battleship I showed you earlier, and that's going to take over defense. There's going to be a small flotilla of those at each of our 3 defensible locations. We might also build 1 for Ceres just for good measure. Ceres is at the moment defended by 1 battleship and the ground defenses of the place. There is also 1 Victor that's just hanging around, a frigate and 2 gunships. So maybe we do build 1 more battleship around Ceres so we can clean that up at some point. But they're not going after our 3 core locations here. I might even, for the extra water and volatiles, like it's 2 mission control. We'll see if they bomb this. And if they bomb it, maybe it'll make them feel better about life. Who knows? But this is incredibly cheap to do. And we have construction stuff in situ that can allow us to do that. So let's just build 1 more base on Ceres, design some new ships, get them constructed, then start retiring some other ships. I also am considering, just to balance when total war happens, I'm about to get independence movements because I need restored Commonwealth, because to make the UK more militarily powerful, I need more provinces so that it can have more armies, which means we need some more territory for the UK. After all, I did promise that we'd go to the full borders. Independence movement gives you End of America gets you to restored Commonwealth. So I'll grab that, but I'm also considering grabbing, we'll let the thing cycle just one day.
Every form I have to fill in, every arse I have to kiss, every pointless safety standard I have to meet is time I'll never get back. I say strangle these leeches with their own red tape and let the profits flow. Chairman Soren van Wyk, appearing on Fox News.
Okay, so there we are, independence movements. Interesting that Soren says this on this technology, when in reality we are full aboard the megacorp-controlled meganation train. Oh, good. All right, so that's Fall of Empires. Getting fleet logistics gets us access to independent commands, which reduces the MC usage of spacecraft, and also gives us access to another hate reduction technology, which would increase by another 25% the floor. So again, just slowing down. This is the technology we want eventually, because Titanic spacecraft are cool, repair bays are cool. All this is cool. Probably not the most high priority thing ever. White collar automation would probably be more useful. But I'm tempted to get fleet logistics, to be honest. I mean, we can grab Fall of Empires first to get these projects unlocked, and then maybe fleet logistics, like that. I think we do that. We're focusing on the drives with antimatter propulsion. Yeah, no, I think this is right. Let me go design those battleships and get them into production. Meanwhile, I'm plying Exodus with technology. I just gave them a bunch of techs that increase their boost generation. Now I'm going to give them a bunch of techs that increase their science generation. No reason not to help them out, considering I've taken away a lot of their countries. And mostly I just don't want their councillors attacking me. Britain is on the edge, an absolute edge of cracking over into the next age of military technology, at which point we will probably give the poor country a chill pill and let it, I don't know, maybe we'll add some brief economic growth or build some boost or something. Because at the moment, the UK has been in economic stagnation for a decade, but it's still a democracy. It's reasonably stable. In fact, I need to keep declaring unjust wars in order to stop cohesion becoming too high. Cohesion naturally in the UK is drifting way up there. It's still super educated. Inequality has come down from where it was, even with just 1 point of welfare, because without any economic growth, the only pressure on inequality has been the welfare spending, and it has become the world's foremost military superpower. Because I'm pretty sure our 3 UK divisions could probably destroy all of our European divisions, probably, if they chose to do so. And they're about to get even stronger. So good on you, UK, you're contributing. Now is our first step to get into the United States once we have the CP. We need to help Britain out by breaking into Canada first, both because it'll give us more leverage over the US and also because Canada itself is fairly great. 19 mission control points. We can add it into a federation with the UK and eventually absorb it. So a casual military coup in Canada to throw out the protectorate. Canadians, you love a good protest or something, right? This is just one step up. All right, that'll do. Coup d'état in Canada. Apparently, the democracy score has actually gone up significantly. Canada became a better country with that coup. We have the servants in control of the legislature, but the executive and the mass media belong to us. So we'll do some quick priority adjustments. I'll just zero this out at just boost, which is not what they will actually be building, but just to make sure they don't accidentally spoil the country in the meantime, let me just set that while I'm thinking. We'll throw the servants out of the legislature. We'll need to... I think we go for peaceful unification. Oh no, it'll scratch the military tech. Well, it's okay. We can still ally... What we can do is we can ally now. Like that. To make sure they don't get invaded immediately. And then we can always remove those alliances if we decide to restore the Commonwealth by force. But there's an argument to be made here. I mean, Canada does have 2 armies. So the UK would lose military tech level, but it would also gain 2 pre-built forces. So there's a thought there. I'll have to do some math to work it out. But Canada's in a pretty good shape. Yeah, that's a nice pickup. And 19 mission control, which we're currently getting 13. We'll get the rest once we take the other one off the servants. How much of our research? 15 of our research is... Very little of our research is from unused mission control. So it's not a huge payoff, but I like having big MC numbers because we will eventually use it all. Alright, we've returned to the North American continent. Okay, neutron flux torch, amazing. Okay, I don't even care what I'm researching next. Let's just have a look at this drive. So, we need a vessel that can go from Mars or Earth to Jupiter, fight while it's there, carrying a platform kit with it. So let's design a ship. I think the correct model is going to be a battleship or a dreadnought. Dreadnought will just allow us more firepower. Oops, I just obsoleted something. Yeah, oh, actually, no, liquid hydrogen containment is obsolete. Those can go. Old ECM can go. We're not using water anymore, we're using lithium. Alright, so here we go. What do we need? Well, let's design it. Let's see what we get on a dreadnought first. So let's add a saltwater core reactor. Let's get the drives on first. Saltwater core reactor, neutron flux torch. Oh, there we go. 710 kps. Amazing. Now, Downside. Each propellant tank costs 5 fissile material. So this ship, one tank, one refuel, is about a month's income. But we do have a bank, we do have savings. But I think, yeah, building an entire force around these would be difficult. We can't add a Hydron trap. We could add a antimatter spiker to get combat acceleration and cruise acceleration up further. I probably wouldn't want to increase the number of drives because, as you can see, the cost in materials is actually very significant for adding each drive. So you'd probably want to go one drive. Then you'd want to add fission, outpost, and platform kits. Probably the platform kit is the most important. The more of those you take with you, the better. The outposts kit, you can then use the construction module in orbit. Won't take that long in order to then drop a whole bunch of them down on the planet. So let's take the platform kit. What else would you want? You might want to take a scientific. You might want to take a lab. You definitely want to take a lithium heatsink. At that weight, you might even want to take the double weight heatsink. Component armoring sounds like a good idea. And then I haven't encountered many alien missiles, and I don't have the alien missile jamming tech. But anyway, let's leave that for a moment. Then what you do is you put not 2 heavy coil guns. You put 3 of the small coil guns. This, your nose weapon. We don't have the heavy coilers, so you do something like that. Meanwhile, if you take the battleship hull, so the dreadnought seems like it actually really, really cool. I just don't think I have the technology to make the most out of it, and I kind of like. Let's just see what I can do with the battleship. So let's add radiators, let's add power plant, saltwater core, 10 tanks. Gets us 845 KPS, more than enough to get out to Jupiter, but we haven't put armor on it yet, which is what was going to weigh down the dreadnought, because these things need to be able to fight when they get there. Do I want the 2 guns or do I want the 1 big gun? It's 5 shots over 72, 5 shots over 60. One's got more targeting range and damage. They've also got more mass. That's the thing I don't know. More muzzle velocity. I think we'll go this way. So 3 guns each, plus the point defense, and then, like I said, fission platform, component armoring, a heavy heat sink in case the radiators get damaged, 2.6G combat acceleration, 666 KPS, 250K. All right. Then these things need to be able to fight when they arrive. 4 side armor, 6 rear armor, 55 front armor. Call it 60 front armor. Alright, so we're at 414 KPS. I can take it to 500 KPS. So let's choose an example transfer. So if I want to transfer from the Mars Overwatch to... I think we're going to IO first. No, I want to transfer from Mars Overwatch to low IO orbit. 4 weeks. Or 5.6 if we want to get there with a significant amount left in the tank. So that sounds like a good deal to me. That's enough delta V to then fight an engagement or 2 while defending the platform that we're laying down. Utility module, how much ammo do we have? Magazine, 1,800. 5 shots every 60 seconds. I don't think we need a magazine. I think we can get away with ECM. Is that all Marines? Carrying Marines, a significant number of Marines would mean that I don't have to build specialist marine cruisers when I get there to have at least some marine presence. I'm not sure this will be enough, but it's something. I can probably afford to add... Oh, jeez, look at the weight penalty of that each side armor. Okay, 456 KPS, 1.5G combat acceleration is not incredible. But the sacrifice of going to a second... So they're not going to be the best combat ships in the planet with 1.5G combat acceleration. I don't think they're going to catch... But we can retrofit them later, but the only purpose of these is defensive. I need them to get to Jupiter and then defend while I build up a station. That station can have shipyards and layered defense arrays, and that can then pump out ships that have the DV to fight within the Jovian subsystem. So let's call this the expansion class battleship. It is a defense bomber. 65-8. Not the most aggressive armor scheme on the planet, but like I said, these guys have to go a distance. 450 KPS, 12 propellant tanks. Let's give them 13 propellant tanks. They cost 81. They cost a month. This was nice. They cost 1 month of income per ship, per fuel tank. Okay. Ship construction. Mars is still finishing its shareholder class. So let's throw 2 expansions. So 3 expansions at Mars. How many space works do we have free on Earth itself? 1. So that would be a force of 4. I don't like a force of 4. I think I like a force of 6 better. So the question is, do I cut 1 shareholder from Mars or from Earth? I think I do. So that'll get me 5 battleships. That'll get me 6. I can build the shareholders later. Earth's got all the old crap, all the old missile boats and everything like that adds a little bit artificially to its defensibility, plus a bunch of shipyards and stations. So this way we're going to send a fleet of 6 expansion class battleships to the Jovian system, and that's going to be our initial... They're going to hold the territory initially while we get the station up, and then hopefully reinforcements arrive. I hope 6 is enough. I hope 6 is enough. The alternative would be to go... you know what, let's go 7. And then we'll spend half a year worth of fissile income getting them out there, and then we'll spend another half a year refueling them when they arrive. That's okay. 7 battleships against a casual alien fleet of 250 ships, 40,000 combat power. You need to win the Jovian battle. Alright, so the expansion class ships are in the works. The UK military, Her Majesty's Armed Forces, have upgraded to be Invasion Age Standard. So look at those sweet new vehicles. And of course, they're actually fighting as tech level 6.3s. So UK ready to wipe the floor with anyone. Once it gets more territory, we can expand the military further. And that will be an answer to just about anything. I think any conventional threat, the UK can handle it. Now, while I think the fight against the aliens is going well, apparently the fight against global warming is not going as well. I haven't developed fusion or clean technology or anything like that, so... although global temperature anomaly only plus 1.5 degree. Okay, so we're sailing past the 1.5 degree target, but we're not at 2 degrees yet. What are we? Atmospheric carbon dioxide is increasing slowly. Methane's increasing faster. Okay, and no excess stratification. So if someone nukes someone else, that would temporarily help, but probably not a permanent solution. Alright, looks like America's getting nuked again, this time by Mexico, although Mexico is firing on their own territory. So the US military was about to take Mexico City, and thus bring Mexico under the control of the United States. But Mexico and its nuclear program, which I think Hans Castillo developed, but now the Academy has inherited, they're just going to delete a US army. So now there are more US militaries and military units. They can roll in, but oof. I think the US is back to having, geez, they're back to 5 armies. Geez, they've really focused a lot on rebuilding. But US cohesion is at 0. It is maximally decohered. Inequality is high. So, and I've started public campaigning in the USA. Because I think what the people of America, after failed foreign wars, getting their militaries nuked, and at this point many years of pro-surrender rule, what they really want is the corporate oligarchy back. Like, they want their old corporate oval. They miss the days. They miss the days where we controlled the corporations and the security apparatus. So I think it's soon going to be time to head back to the good old US of A.
Waiting to be drained by whoever's smart enough and rich enough to get there first. Black gold is back, baby, back. Chairman Soren van Wyk. Impromptu comments made to paparazzi outside a nightclub in Cape Town.
Alright, antimatter propulsion. Now that we were able to generate antimatter on industrial scale, which we can, first super colliders are active, we are producing 5 tons of antimatter per month. That's so stupid to say. Oh, I love super colliders so much. Fantastic. So, advanced antimatter, antimatter pulse plasma core drive, 100% open research, and we have great opportunities to proceed. I want to get Mind and Machine for next tier cybernetics. I think that could be really powerful. We're not allowed to go plasma. Ultraviolets, there's no point because we can't do... There's no PD upgrade. We can't use offensive laser weapons because they don't use ammo. The only thing they would do is upgrade our base defense modules, which is okay, but it's not super high priority. I mean, I could grab mission to Saturn and send probes. Our ships are probably going to get there before the probes do. But I feel like it should be done. Still following our rules. Let's deprioritize that. Let's prioritize... I'd like to finish both white collar automation and fleet logistics. Let's finish fleet logistics to get it out of the way. Increase that hate cap slightly so that our risk of tripping into total war isn't quite as high, and give us a little bit of a buffer when we go out to Jupiter and we have to start shooting people. Transnational management is also being researched. This gives us 100 control points. So that's what we need to get into the US in a big way. So very exciting. Okay, I normally wouldn't feature small events, but this is just too good. In these unprecedented times, politicians wish to be seen as non-partisan. In a rare display of unity, politicians in the United Kingdom have determined they must act together if any progress is to be made. They are adamant that something must be done to improve the conditions in the United Kingdom, and we have the perfect opportunity to guide them towards a policy which will benefit our goals. We could increase welfare, we could encourage scientific funding, or we could increase defense spending. Fantastic. Crank it up, UK. Crank it up. I want a 7.0 military by the end, and when we roll into the United States, I want you to be ready.
Their hearts and minds.
Okay, here we are. Operational misdirection. We don't need alien warships right now. May as well. I mean, it's a hate reduction technology. It'll give us a little bit of a boost. It'll mean the floor is a bit higher. Like I said, this is about juggling when we go to total war now, not whether we go to war full stop. If anything, I start needing more shipyards soon, but I can't support constant building unless we get to Jupiter, grab Io or Ganymede, mine the shit out of it, then I can sustain an all-out war. But for the moment, not so much. It's almost time to clean up orbit, though. I'm putting that off, but if I have a look at fleets in orbit right now, I have a feeling there is a alien surveillance mission finishing in September. This fleet's got to go. I'm not letting anyone complete another surveillance mission. It's just not happening. Plus, we'll grab a casual 5 ships in the course of doing so. Casual breakthrough event allows us to invest more in research in Eurasia, which bumps our democracy to a flawed democracy.
Endangers everyone on this planet.
Missile Arder is very pissed at me and has been blowing up some of my launch pads. So how much science can I give you to make you go away? I want to give you stuff that increases your boost production. Something that actually works for me, so if I ever take countries off you later, you have built more boost in them. Have you already got all of that? Well, look, have Foundry, you're going to need that. Have Nanofabs, you're going to need that. And I want Generous, so there you are. Have all that. Now go away. Okay, so we're going to sell our first unit. I'm going to try and keep track of this, so we're selling 50% of our production. So let's sell 20 exotics for the rule and 1 antimatter. I sold 1 exotic before. I think it's maybe 4 more. Okay, that's our exotic supply. Interesting, but we now have a lot of money, like a lot of money, and we're researching mind and machine, which will give us tier 3 cybernetics. I haven't put level 2 cybernetics on my people, so I'll go through and do that now. The other thing we have done is we have cracked down the security apparatus in the United States. The United States is now an anocracy, so there is no Congress anymore. There are oligarchs, and there is the security apparatus. The corps is still there. We have control of the identity blocks. The servants have the extractive sector, but we are climbing our way slowly towards the executive. The security apparatus gives us a bonus on crackdown, detain, and assassinate. So we'll use that crackdown bonus to get our way into the US executive eventually. But this is going to be the swan song for the protectorate. If we can crack them here, if we can get them out of the USA, then I think they're broken as a force. Hopefully. I mean, they did take Mexico eventually, but not the same. And here we are, finally in a position to start getting more than a little proactive. This is our expansion force. 8 battleships, the Standard Oil, the Amazon, East India Company, Krupp, Skoda, Microsoft, CNPC, and Aramco. All with those beautiful neutron flux torches, all in the 11,000 ton range, and all with the a casual 25 times as much delta V as all of our other ships. So now let's think destination. Our probes did arrive in the Jupiter system, and we're going to have a look at what the different areas have to offer. Ganymede has some great locations, but the aliens are already there. Callisto has some okay locations, is generally pretty balanced. You won't get as much metal out of it, but there are some high fissiles locations. There are some good metal locations. So not everything's going to give you a great return, and the aliens aren't there. Io is going to give you better metals across the board, like a lot of metals. You're not going to get massive fissile incomes, but it's also going to be easier to fill out, I think, and defend initially. Callisto's total yield will be higher. Also, Callisto is where eventually you can actually put population. Europa and Io are 2 irradiated. Ganymede and Callisto can actually accommodate some sort of population. So the question is, do we want to go into Callisto for the fissiles to get the 11 and the 7 and the 4 and the 8 and like a sprinkling of metals, or do we want to go to Io, cash big on the metals, but not have any fizzles? I think that in terms of total yield, also this one's got a place called Utgard, so my Inner Dominions nerd thinks Callisto is going to be the go. There's very little difference in transit time. What I can do is I can increase the transit time. I can increase the transit time out. Why can't I... Sure, requires at least 1 free mission control and founds it in the current... Oh, is it because the orbit's full? No. Let's undock this. I don't want to launch and then find out I can't found a station and refuel when I get there. So undock, burn off. Just want to be very sure that when we get to Jupiter, we can actually set up a station and refuel. Yes, we can. Okay, wonderful. So let's launch Mars Overwatch. I just like to do it visually. What position is Jupiter in at the moment? There it is. So I think we start at the outer ring and we work our way in. Let's accept a 5-point 4.75 week transfer. We could do it in 4.6, but we burn a whole much more DV. Let's burn 401. I mean, this just tells me that if you're willing to wait years, you could have done it with the old technology, but it was actually faster to wait for them and then go with more. So this won't be a direct burn, but it'll be something pretty close. 401 DV gets us there in 5.75 weeks. Engage. So they'll loiter for a little bit, and then they will launch. Solar flare. Well, we have heaps of spare MC. But we don't have enough for 50% drop. Okay. And we haven't done this one. So we'll pay 100 boost to fast track the replacement of the satellites. The expansion force is now burning. And they are now en route for Jupiter. Protectorate stealing our reactors, which reminds me I need to smack their fleet soon. If I'm going to take the US from them, I should also take their station from them and their fleet and their hopes and dreams.
Public sentiment is increasingly with us.
And that's where I'm going to cut it. We have a fleet capable of flying to the Jovian subsystem that will go there and establish resource extraction. That will move us one step closer towards total war with the aliens. From that point on, things will probably escalate quickly, but I expect we'll have 1, maximum 2 episodes where we're in that sort of awkward middle phase where we are shooting far more often, but we haven't hit the berserk button and caused a total war response from the aliens. I hope you're enjoying the series. I'm looking forward to adding some additional house rules and challenges in the near future, and I hope to see you all again soon.